The start of a new day brings a new life for horses who've spent every day living freely in the San Juan Basin in northwest Colorado.
Well, he's probably starting to bring them in.
Meg Frederick has been documenting these wild horses for years.
We watch them from foal to band stallion, from foal to mom, and now they're all going to be gone.
The Bureau of Land Management is using helicopters to drive more than 730 out of 900 in the herd to corrals to trap them.
Okay, so that's Rigel and Sundance's band.
I appreciate that people are emotional about these animals because they're beautiful animals. They also need to understand that it's not okay for us to allow the population to get up to a certain level right on the edge before they start to crash.
Bruce Silito manages this area for the BLM. He says the drought has left too little water and vegetation for food, so the number of wild horses needs to come down to about 160.
The management level that ensures there's sufficient food for the horses and for the sage grouse and the antelope and the other animals that call San Juan Basin home.
Oh yeah, we don't pressure the horses at all.
Frederick says these helicopter roundups are cruel.
They're happily grazing, and then here comes this monster out of the sky. It's terrifying.
This is an environment where the horses can be moved to the trap in a way that is safe for them. We don't have massive areas of concern.
Can you ID the horses that are in there?
Now Frederick worries that they will all have to learn how to live in captivity.
They're in a cage right now, stressed out, scared to death, and packed like sardines.
Packed for a new life and a new day for wild horses in the San Juan Basin.
I will probably never be able to emotionally come back here. I mean, this place it's going to be like a graveyard to me.
In Moffat County, Nelson Garcia, 9 News. Wild horses are a part of the American West.
I believe a Mustang should be able to run free.
They are part of Naja Ryder.
I'm just sad. This has been part of my life for a long time.
She's been coming to the San Juan Basin west of Craig for 43 years.
I know the horses personally. I've seen many of them grow up.
Now she has to see
A better view would be appreciated.
Yeah.
Of them coming in.
something she never wanted. The Bureau of Land Management is using helicopters to capture wild horses.
It's sad.
Ryder says these roundups are brutal.
I think it's important for people to witness what's going on and hold the BLM accountable for what they're doing.
She is hoping the horses will run away.
I think we should go look for Corona myself, since he escaped.
The BLM says the drought has left too little water and too little vegetation for food to sustain the wild horse herd of nearly 900. Contractors plan to collect more than 730 horses and leave a more sustainable number.
It's a desert. But there are areas in the basin you can go to that has really good grass. You can go into the washes.
You can go outside of the San Juan Basin and find nearby ranches with sheep and fields of green. Ryder says this is the actual problem. The ranchers, who for years have paid the BLM grazing fees to have thousands of livestock use the same area as the wild horses.
They consider it their land then, when they've leased it for that long.
What would you have if you removed all the livestock today? What would you have in 4 years?
Callie Hendrickson is with the Colorado Farm Bureau and a longtime rancher.
You have double the number of horses.
Hendrickson says horses constantly use the San Juan Basin, while sheep only graze there for weeks out of the year when the land on their ranches needs to regrow.
Livestock overgrazed this country 75 and 100 years ago. We learned from that. We learned about timing, intensity, and duration.
She says what's more important is the health of the soil and roots of the plants.
Because if you abuse it and it's overgrazed, it will not be productive ground again.
But it goes dormant when it's really, really dry, and it will come back when it rains.
But if you have been abusing that for multiple years, you won't have anything when the rain comes.
Hendrickson says the number of sheep using the San Juan Basin can be managed, and is.
If you use it at the right time, the right duration, with the right numbers, it will survive and do great. It'll flourish.
She says the only way to manage wild horses is to remove them.
And I see people crying over horses. Been there, done that myself, okay? There's nothing I think more of than a horse. Nobody's crying over this land, and we should be.
We're going to the corrals to try and view who was captured.
Ryder wants to see if horses were hurt in the gather.
Is it broken, or can you tell?
Brian Klopp wants to know too. He is with an advocacy group called the American Wild Horse Campaign and has questions for the BLM.
We notified you yesterday around this time that there was a mare with a broken leg out there. The foal was getting ahead of it.
Klopp says he shot this video of a mare injured during the gather.
There it is, shaking its head. You could see that. I mean, that's not just a little head shake. That's putting its head up into the sky and shaking it in distress. I've done hundreds of days of gathers, and this one has been incredibly unique. Things we saw yesterday that I have not seen on any gather day.
He says another horse was injured.
Broken hip there, that's the new injury.
And had to be euthanized. Klopp believes this gather is breaking the law.
If the cop says a helicopter cannot push the horses faster than the slowest horse, how are the foals falling behind, and how are mares with broken legs being left out standing alone?
I haven't seen a mare with a broken leg yet. We haven't been able to locate one because I sent BLM personnel out there this morning. So I'm trying to do the best that I can.
The BLM tries to round up the horses as gently as possible, according to Field Office Manager Bruce Silito.
The contractor does have many things to be concerned about, and the BLM is overseeing the contract to ensure that these animals are gathered in a manner that is very safe for them.
Michelangelo, right there.
At this point, Ryder just wants to document who's been taken.
My baby Aztec's in there. He looks like he's okay, though.
And say goodbye.
Oh, sorry, Eclipse.
To her longtime friends.
I feel like I'm betraying them. I come out here, they know my voice. The horses aren't dumb. They know me.
Taking the wild.
I feel like I've betrayed them by not being able to stop this somehow.
Out of the Wild West. In Moffat County, Nelson Garcia, 9 News.
They're terrified.
The trouble with being a witness at a Bureau of Land Management horse gather is you have to watch it.
You know, there's so many other ways to do this.
It looked like Hawk at the front.
Meg Frederick is one of the number of wild horse advocates documenting the capture of more than 80% of the herd in the Sand-Wash Basin in Moffat County.
It's a spiritual place out here. And the reason that it's spiritual is because of the wild horses.
That spirit also means profit.
And you go up into the Sand-Wash Basin.
Tom Kleinschnitz runs the Moffat County Tourism Association.
We've absolutely had people from every state of the union. We've had people from Europe come.
He says wild horses are part of a $30 million impact for Moffat County businesses.
For tourism, it'll be harder to find horses in the future.
Harder, but he says the message stays the same.
They're a part of the American West. They're protected out there, and we will continue to let people know about that resource.
I felt like when I was in the line this morning that I was going to a funeral procession for my friends.
Frederick believes tourists looking for horses will go elsewhere.
And they'll never come back. They'll never give another dime to Craig because the town of Craig did not fight at all for us. And we bring a lot of money into that town.
I think we certainly need to be advocates both ways, advocates for the land, advocates for the horse, and advocates for the citizens here in Moffat County that want to get it right.
Poor thing.
The captured horses will now be put up for public adoption.
After they leave here, we don't know what's going to happen.
Jason Lutterman is with the Wild Horse and Burro program, which is offering a $1,000 incentive to people who can adopt.
To adopt a wild horse from the Bureau of Land Management, you have to go through a robust adoption application process.
Which, he says, includes compliance checks and essentially 12 months of fostering the horse before receiving official ownership.
That's why the Bureau of Land Management does what we can within the adoption period to make sure that these animals are going to good homes from the onset so that we put them on a good pathway.
A lot of them have very bad lives, and as soon as they get that incentive, they have no incentive to keep the horse.
Frederick says some of these previously wild horses will end up sold to slaughter. Lutterman acknowledges it is a problem, but the BLM can't do anything once the horses become private property.
Well, we never like to see that happen. Our goal is to always put these animals into long-term, forever homes, we like to call them. That's why we have all these safeguards in place.
Promises and holding pens for creatures that were born to roam free in the Sand-Wash Basin.
I'm absolutely devastated.
In Moffat County, Nelson Garcia, 9 News.